This segment is brought to you by JigMasters Jigs. When in doubt, get the jig out. Go to JigMasters.com and use promo code PNF20 and save 20% off your next jig order today.
You're listening to Bass Fishing for Noobs on the Paddle and Fin podcast with your hosts Ryan Milford and Sean Lavery. Welcome back to Bass Fishing for Noobs on the Paddle and Fin podcast. I'm your host Ryan. Got my co-host Sean.
Hey guys, what's up?
And today we have our guest is Mr. Jim Ware. Welcome to the show, Mr. Ware.
Good to be here, Ryan.
If you don't mind, for people that don't know you, can you kind of go introduce yourself, who you are, what you do, all that good stuff?
Sure. My name's Jim Ware. I live in Rome, Georgia, northwest Georgia, and been kayak fishing for about 12 years. And just started out, a lot of the guys have been doing it a long time. When we started out, everything you had was homemade, crates, anchor trolleys, all that. And just seeing the sport grow to what it is now, it's pretty amazing. I'm I'm on the dugout bait and tackle fishing team, which is in Marietta, Georgia. It's a Hobie dealer. I pedal a Hobie. Fish for Picasso lures. I rod fishing rods, gambler. Man, I just, ever since I was a kid, I've fished and went through the bass boat stage and didn't really have enough money to support it. And that led me into the kayak world. And now I don't think I'd get out of it. And I fish a lot of tournaments. I'm not very successful at them, but I have a whole lot of fun, made a lot of friends. And it's been a fun ride so far, and I'll be doing it till the doctor tells me I can't.
I didn't realize that you had been kayaking for so long. So like you're like right there with like one of the OGs of the kayak fishing.
You know what's funny is I work at a paper mill, and we work this ship called a Southern Swing. I only get one weekend off a month. So I'm there for a long, long time. I fished by myself or with a couple of really close childhood friends that had bought kayaks. I had no idea there was anything outside of what I was doing, except from websites I would look at, or there was a Georgia kayak fishing message board before Facebook. So, and they had a, message board on there, and you could get all kind of neat, really good information. But I ended up buying started out with $250 Kingfisher used kayak, conned my wife into a long weekend in Savannah. And on the way down there, I told her I'm bringing a kayak back. So, anyway,
let's go on vacation.
Yeah.
I have no bad intentions.
Met the guy down there and hauled the kayak back. And I mean, for 2 or 3 years, I thought I had the greatest thing in the world. Realized what I needed more in a kayak, so I stepped up and bought a brand new Ride 135 Wilderness. Kept it for about 3 years, and it was stolen.
Oh.
So now Facebook's around, so I post pictures of it, trying to find it, and that opened me up to this community that I had no idea about. These guys started sharing it, and I started getting messages. Hey, I'm with this kayak shop or this, So I was like, wow, all these guys, and that's for me just fishing by myself and limited weekends. So anyway, I ended up meeting a guy named Jim Clark at a local lake here, pouring down rain. He and I took shelter under the same tree, and we planned a river trip. So anyway, we became acquaintances calling each other, and I go to the we go to the river together. And he asked me if I'm going to fish the KBF Open. So it was the second one. It was on Kentucky Lake. I was like, I don't know. It's $14,000 was the grand prize. I was like, you got to be kidding me, man. This is kayak fishing. Yes, I'm going to fish it. So that was my first step into like the big tournaments. And we go up there and camped and had a great time. First day I was in really good shape, and second day the fish moved, and that's normally how it goes with me anyway. I have a good first day or a good second day and never put them together. But so that's where it's led to. And Clint Henderson's I don't know if you ever heard of him, but him and Jim are all best friends, and we travel together and stuff. I was sitting about 20 yards from Clint when he won the FLW KBF Cup on Lake Washita out there. So I got to see him catch on the second day. He pulled up a 19-inch. It hit right at the boat, and that was what I told him when he pulled it up. I said, "You just won." He's like, "No, man, no." I was like, "Yeah, you won." So anyway, I've seen some really good stuff just from kayak fishing.
That's pretty cool, man.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Let me mention this too. Just you get people would know me a little better. I'm a recovering alcoholic, and kayak fishing has, it's saved my life, and that's one thing I'm so passionate about. Just sharing the sport. Maybe it'll help somebody down the road that's and having troubles or whatever. It ain't that bad. Go get on the water. It'll save some of you.
That's awesome. Yeah.
I'm happy for you.
Yeah, man.
It's definitely has
I didn't get shaky there.
No, that's awesome, man. That's keeping it real. Then people know that how passionate you are about it.
Yeah. So.
I think kayaking definitely has some healing aspects to it, and I think the more people can experience that, I do a lot with yours on the water when I can. This year, unfortunately, it's been a little dialed back, but just seeing people when they get out there and what the change in their spirits, it's amazing. So
exactly, yeah, we've got a big group of youth here in town and it's growing. We do a Fishers of Men Monday night tournament during the summer, and we have a youth division, and actually the youth division's been larger than our adult division, and it's free for the kids, and we have a good message and good turnout, and share tips and this and that with them, and they're a bunch of good boys.
That's awesome.
Now, is that, I believe, is that related to the Fishers of Men kayak fishing group on Facebook, or is that separate?
That's it.
It is? Okay.
Yeah, Clint Henderson started it, and he pushed, he really gets into it, and I'm friends with him and help him whenever I can, and there's 2 or 3 other guys that really put a lot of time into it also.
Yeah, I'm actually in that group. Somebody invited me to it, but I've never been very active in it, so I wasn't sure exactly what it was all about. So cool.
Yeah, it's a good group.
That's awesome.
Yeah. Anyway, that's me.
All right. Well, Jim, you were wanting to talk about tonight a charity tournament that's coming up, and it's for somebody that a lot of people in the bass fishing world knows, Aaron Martens. And so I was gonna let you start, give some details on this, and I guess a little bit more about what the charity event's all about, go over, how it's going to work and all that.
Okay. Everybody, most people know, but Aaron Martens was diagnosed with brain cancer, had 2 tumors back in June, I believe. And he is a Picasso. He sponsored by Picasso Lures, and Dan Vesuvio is the owner of Picasso, and he and a couple other a group of guys have put their heads together, built this benefit tournament, and got a ton of sponsors to come together. Got a whole list of pros on board to help the Martens family with their medical bills. So on top of the cause is, you know, it's worthy, you know, it's a worthy cause. But it also, the tournament is in kayak bass fisherman's wheelhouse. It's exactly what we do. The only difference is it's not Tourney X, it's a Connect scale. So I'll go ahead and mention first, to get into the tournament, you have to download the Connect Scale app, and you can get it through the app store, and it's free, and the entry fee is $50. 100% of all the entry fees will go to the Martin family to help them. They're going to pay out 177 spots, and not all are cash. It's a long list to look at, and I'm not going to read all of them, but on down towards the bottom, it's you know, it's solar bats, gift cards, Picasso Lures. I got a list here. I'm going to give you the.
I was reading down through the list of sponsors, and it's crazy. It's a who's who of fishing sponsors, man. Yeah,
Picasso Lures, Tackle Warehouse, Shimano, G. Loomis, Sims, iRod, Phoenix Boats, AccuCoil, Solar Bat, AFCO, Gill, RoboWorm, Enigma Rods, Big Hammer Swim Baits, Gunnersville Tackle and Outdoors, Jewel Realis, Gamakatsu, and there's more. The payout, first prize is going to be $2,500 cash and a Shimano Stella G. Loomis Conquest combo. So I think that's about a $1,800 combo right there.
Ooh. I'd be scared to use it.
Yeah, me too. Second prize is $2,000 cash and a Shimano Metanium and a Loomis IMX combo. Third prize is a Shimano Corrado and $1,500. Fourth is $1,000 cash. Fifth is a Lithium Pro battery. It's an $850 battery. It's used for bass boats. It's a 12 volt, 36 volt deal. But and then on down, it's just, you know, it's a group. The list of prizes is amazing.
Yeah, that's awesome. You never hear of a tournament paying out 177 spots, but at this caliber, I guess I could see it.
Right, and you know, it's I guess they could have squeezed it down, paid top 20, and made it big, but you know, they want everybody to, you know, share it down, because you're ultimately just giving from your heart there. Also, they have if you don't want to fish it, you can go on the website and it's amartbenefittournament.com, and they have a link on there to donate. So you can click on it and just donate whatever you want to give, whatever you can give would help. Now, it's a catch, photo, and release tournament. Use the same bump board, any bump board, but you know, the little golden rules, I think, only go up to about 20 inches. It's going to take more than that to win, because it's eligible waters is public or private water. Fish from the bank, bass boat, john boat, kayak, canoe, however you just go fishing. Top 5 fish, you enter them up on, post them up to the Connect Scale app. It'll auto cull, give you your top 5 fish. The dates are October 3rd through the 18th. And during that time frame, there is the KBF National Championship is going on. The Hobie BOS on the Coosa River is going on. And there's numerous other grassroots type state championships going on at the time. So there's going to be a lot of kayak fishermen on the water during that time.
You're there
you know,
anyways, and so you could just count those fish that you're catching towards that, correct?
Yeah, that's exactly right. Catch your fish, put your, I know KBF and Hobie don't mind either way if you have a separate identifier or a separate code on your board. Upload your fish during the tournament for the tournament, and when the tournament's over, you know, upload them to the Connect Skill app when you're waiting on the captain's meeting to start at the end of the day. But so yeah, it's going to be a lot of opportunity for to cross fish a lot of tournaments with this one. Let's see if there's anything I missed. There's also an auction, and on the website I mentioned, click on the auction, and you're going to see you can bid, and they've got a minimum bid $1,000 for the pros. Get a day on the water with KVD, Denny Brower, Zona, Jacob Wheeler, Hank Cherry, Jordan Lee, G-Man, Ott Defo, Randy Howell, Mark Davis. I mean, there's a bunch of pros.
Like the best in the business right now.
Exactly. And then there's also some guided trips on there. And I can tell you there's one on Lake Garnesville. His name's Lonnie Cochran, has donated a guided trip for 2 on Gunnersville. And it includes lodging and meals. And I'm going to tell you, this guy is, I know Lonnie, and he knows Lake Garnesville like back of his hand. He's good. And there's also a guided trip down on Seminole, and his name is Clint Brown, and he's a hammer on Seminole. A couple more guides, and they're like, I think the minimum's $200, the minimum bid for them. Hopefully you get more than that, but you know, those guys have donated their time, and you'd learn a lot. I know with Lonnie, you'd learn a lot. He's good.
Yeah. Wait,
and
I'm sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt.
I can't imagine, you know, going out and spending a day with Denny Brower or KVD or Gerald Swindle, you know.
That's kind of what I was about to say. You know, I'm a pretty big fan of the Duckett Jacob Wheeler series rods.
Yeah.
So it was like, you know, since his rods seem to accommodate my fishing pretty well, me and him might, you know, I might be able to learn a little thing from him. You know, we might have some similar fishing styles. So,
exactly.
You know, I might be able to pick a thing or two up from him.
Yeah. Yeah, that would, like I said, the entire fishing, I don't want to use the word industry, fishing community has come together. Like I said, there's whoever wants to help that can help, you know. And if you want to fish the tournament and help, that's great. If you want to donate, that's great. But I'm sure the Martens family is going to need some help down the road, and that's what we're trying to pull together.
And that's one thing about this. Go ahead, Jim.
I meant to mention the big bass. We got a big bass for the tournament. It's going to be $500 cash and a $200 Picasso prize pack. So you get that's $700 worth of, you know, for big bass for the tournament.
That's just one fish.
Yeah. It only takes one.
and you know what? I'm curious as to what part of the country this is going to come from. You know, you think Florida, you think California. Yeah.
Ryan, you're lagging a bit, bud. You might be having some connection difficulties, but yeah, you take. Now we can. You just caught up. You were just lagging.
There we go.
There we go.
Yeah. I thought Jim froze up for a second, then I looked over and you were frozen on my screen too. Yeah.
But yeah, you can. I think you think about that a big fish might come from Texas or Florida or California, but if you're fishing a stocked pond somewhere, anywhere, you can pull in a huge fish and take that big fish.
That's a big game changer right there. Is private waters being acceptable. Because man, some people got some big fish in those private areas.
Right. Yeah, there's and it's going to cover the north too, and I'm sure a lot of those guys are thinking, not quite fair competing with Florida. That's one reason of the increased payout, the 177 spots for kind of. But I know there's people who catch 21-inch smallmouths up there on the regular, probably bigger than that.
Up there on isn't it Lake Erie where some big smallmouths are up there?
Right. Yeah, there, St. Clair.
Yeah, up there in New York. That's what I was trying to say when I froze up. I've seen some big bass come out of New York this year.
Yeah. Right here in my hometown, I'm excited to see. We've got a public fishing area that state of Georgia operates, and I'm bet these guys, if enough guys from around here sign up, they're going to give them a run for their money because, we've caught some on consistent basis big fish out of that, and there's some of the guys around here that know how to pull them out. But yeah, that's I'm curious to see where the big bags are going to come from, and if it's going to be somebody in a kayak or
Oh, I'd honestly love to see a kayaker come out and win that. I don't know. It just feels like it'd be pretty cool. Right. But one thing to remember about this, it's the prizes are cool and everything, but this is going to help out somebody else here in the fishing community. I know Aaron Martens is a professional fisherman, pretty well known in the fishing world. And I believe one common misconception that people have is like, well, these, bigger name professional fishermen winning a bunch of, like they have money, like they don't have money, make money like a professional athlete in football or basketball.
Right.
They're not rich like that. So this, from what I understand, the money from the entry fee and everything is going to help out his family with bills and stuff. I'm sure he's got plenty of doctor bills from that and all that. So this is to help out somebody else in the fishing community.
Exactly.
And I know the fishing community is great about this kind of stuff. So, anybody out there that wants to join, please do it. Or donate, whatever you want to do.
And also, if anybody has any questions, more, and I didn't cover something on here, they can hit me up on Facebook, Jim Ware. Just, message me, inbox me. I don't mind at all. I'll answer whatever questions that come up. If I can't answer them, I'll get you the answer. I promise you that. But yeah, you're right. It's helping out. It's for a really good cause.
Now, did you say any bump board is accepted?
Yeah, they. But it's one that'll measure to 1/4 of an inch.
Okay. So any bump board that measures a 1/4 inch.
Yeah. So and the people, and I'll go ahead and cover this. The people who don't know about how we do our catch, photo, and release tournaments. So you've got your board. The cheapest board I know of is a hog trough. You can pick those things up at Cabela's. Google kayak fishing kayak shop. Most of them have a box of hog troughs. They'll run you anywhere from $20 to $25, $30. Or I've got probably 6. And if somebody around here wants to fish it and needs to borrow one, I would. So if you want to fish it, you don't have one. First thing I do is call a kayak angler and say, hey man, you got an extra boat board I can borrow. So that'd be the best thing to do.
If you're gonna buy one, I'd be, we as Ketch being a sponsor of the podcast, I got to throw out there the new Ketch carbonate board would be great for it. And, it's only $30. It's strong. Well, I got to plug Ketch.
I'm not educated on that particular board. I do have a blue metal board, and I love it. I've had it about a year, and I love it. So I'm not knocking Ketch at all. It's, but anyway, you take the fish, mouth closed, lay it on the board, facing left with the dorsal fin up. There's no rule on pinching the tail or anything like that, so you can get as much length out of the tail as you want. Take your smartphone, snap the picture, try to get as even and directly above the fish center, have the fish center of the picture, snap the picture, review it. If it's a clear picture, keep it. If it's blurry, take another one. But anyway, let the fish go, upload it to the Connect Skill app, catch your next fish, same deal. But the fish is going to have to be positioned like our normal kayak tournaments where the head's left, dorsal fin up, like that. No fingers under the gill. You don't cover the eye.
Open mouth.
Yeah. So, and all the rules are on the web page. If you go to sign up, you scroll down the web page, like about 10 foot long, I guess, if you were to print it out. And they've got all the rules down there. And like I said, if anybody has any questions about the rules, holler at me, and I would be more than happy to walk you through it. But yeah, Dan Vesuvio and some of his buddies he's the owner of Picasso, and he's a really good guy. They went together and put their heads together and built this, and we're just, I don't see any. It should be a hit. There should be a lot of people come out for this one.
Yeah, and if you want to try to look this up a little more, the website is amartcharitytournament.com. That's AMART charitytournament.com.
And I'm sure when we post this up to the podcast and YouTube and Facebook, we'll make sure we link that in there. So if the guys listening just want to check it out there too, they can.
Yeah. So, was there anything we didn't cover about that, or?
I don't think so. What I had, the notes I'd taken, Tackle Warehouse is a sponsor. They're also going to have a random drawing for a few things too. And I know one thing's going to be a $250 Tackle Warehouse gift card. So, somebody lucky is going to get their name drawn for that. So, like I said, there's a ton, it's over $40,000 worth of gifts and cash that's been donated in hopes that anglers will come together and pay the $50, donate to Aaron Martens' family.
I've seen the fishing community come out for a lot less than that, so it doesn't sound like you're going to have a problem. It's whenever I haven't been a member of the kayak fishing community, especially for very long, but just in the couple of years that I've been doing this, I've seen a pretty good turnout for most of the charity things that I've seen like this. So with that kind of prizes and the name power alone, both the sponsors and the professionals that you guys have, I think it's going to be huge.
Man, I was looking on the website just now, and I was going to start naming off some of the sponsors, but there's just so many. Okay, let's see. We got Picasso Lures. We got Connect Fishing League. We got Shimano, Servit Technology and Managed Services, Tackle Warehouse, G. Loomis, Sims, Phoenix bass boats, AccuCole, Solar Bat, AFCO, Gill Fishing, RoboHawk, um, Joe Durham Jr., attorney at law, Lithium Pros, Bonafide, uh, Pure, Spear Point, Enigma Fishing, iRod, The Rod Glove, X Zone, Big Hammer, Gunnersville Tackle and Outdoors. Ain't that the place that Dan and Jimmy were talking about just last week?
I
Talking
think
about how
so.
it's got like everything that
Yeah.
you can't find anywhere else. So that would be a really cool place to win, like a gift card or something like that too. Um, you got Realist, Duo International, Sunline, Carolina Fishing Tackle, Gamakatsu, TRC Covers, another sponsor of the podcast here. TH Marine, Kistler Rods. I mean, that's a lot of big name sponsors right there.
Yeah.
So that's going to be a lot of cool stuff
Yeah.
that people are going to be able to win.
I was curious.
Oh, we lost him.
We did. Oh,
Yeah, he's
Uh,
back.
and it's back.
I had a, yeah, my mom just called. Yeah, I sent her off. But at the Carolina Fishing Tackle, I wasn't sure about what type of tackle shop that is. They're a Japanese domestic market. They can get a lot. They're in North Carolina, but it's pretty cool website when I clicked over there to it. I'm just going to mention that because I'd never heard of them, and they're not my area. But I know I've got a lot of buddies who are JDM freaks, and so I'll definitely share that with them. They probably already know though, but I'll definitely share that with them.
Well, awesome, man. I hope people are hear this, and we can at least get a couple extra people to sign up
Yeah.
from the podcast.
Yeah.
So, I believe we've covered, quite a bit with that, and we got some time to fill. So I figured, we talk a little bit about you and how you like to fish and stuff like that, and some of your favorite techniques. And I guess the first thing to ask is what's your favorite type of water to fish? Are you a lake guy? Are you a river guy?
I grew up fishing creeks, and I was in love with trout fishing from a very, very early age. And I believe that wading creeks and the rivers has taught me more about reading water, because most lakes have current. Some of them doesn't, but most of them have at least some sort of current. And you can just explode what you've learned fishing a river or creek into that lake. Submerged points, long tapering points that come out towards a creek river channel. It's a current break. It's not a log that you can see in a small creek, but it's acting the exact same way. So that was, and 10 years ago, I would have told you my favorite way to fish would be floating a river or a creek. Now, my favorite way to fish is I love fishing deep. I love winter fishing especially. I like throwing a big flutter spoon. I like dragging
We need this interview, Sean. We need this interview.
I like throwing a 3/4 ounce jig or a wobblehead jig. Picasso Fantasy Swinger is my favorite, but with a creature bait on it, just dragging that thing super slow, and that works well in the summer. The deep fishing too, ledges, stuff like that. But that's I'll throw an A-rig, throw in a underspin, a Sujin, what, Lord, I just lost my train of thought. Scrounger head, a Sujin's a Picasso scrounger head, but yeah, I like throwing off. But yeah, deep water fishing's my passion, and that's probably hurt me more than anything going into a tournament, because I tend to go out and start looking for structure or schools of fish, and I try to. That's what I try to go make happen, and I just hadn't put it together. One day, man, one day I'll get it.
Now, I may have missed it when I was interrupting you a minute ago, but did you say what's deep to you? What do you consider deep?
The deepest I've ever caught a bass was 42 foot, 40, 44, 42, 44 foot on drop shot. And there's a lake here in northeast Georgia called Lake Burton. And it's got our state record spotted bass come out of it, 8 pound, 2 ounce. There's giant spotted bass. It's a trout lake. They stock trout in it. There's double digit largemouth that come out of it every year. They catch 12, 14 pound brown trout out of it. Big giant walleye. It's got blueback. So anyway, I love going up there, and it's clear water, deep. And there's some really good points out there. And but yeah, 40, that's the deepest. But I'd say I'm comfortable fishing 18 to 30 foot deep. That's what I consider deep. In the South, I would think anybody else would probably consider that deep also.
I did until recently.
Yeah.
I lived around here around Nashville.
Yeah.
And, whenever I go fish like Percy Priest, I've usually fished the southern end because I'm south of Nashville. That's the closest part to me. And the deep part of that's like, 30, maybe 35, a couple spots, maybe push up to close to 40. But here recently I've had to go up to the north end and fish, and I believe it goes like 50, 70 feet at certain areas up there.
There's a lake here in North Georgia and called Carter's Lake. And from what I understand, it's the deepest man-made lake east of the Mississippi River. And I personally have seen 420 feet deep in that lake.
Oh, my goodness.
Oh, man.
Now, I doubt there's a fish down there, but I've crossed, and it's a fairly narrow lake at places. So you're going to cross from one point to the other. And I'm fishing, 15 to 20, 25 foot. But I'm going to cross the main part of the lake to get to the point on the other side. And when you're going across and it hits, 385 feet, I know I don't believe in monsters, but
I was going to say, I don't almost
think,
expect Nessie to come up and get you.
Exactly. You're thinking, good Lord, man. That's a long way to the bottom.
Yeah.
But it, and that lake has some, big magnum spots in it also. But yeah, Lake Nantahala, I've fished up there before. It's got some 300 foot water in it. But like I said,
I feel like there's got to be something down there. Something's got to be down there.
You'd think so.
It's like a 400-pound catfish.
I tell you, I know what comes out of the bottom of Nantahala Lake. If you ever went rafting up there, where you put in at is where the powerhouse discharge at. So it's pulling off the bottom of that 300 and something foot deep lake. It's like 43 degree water, 44 degree water, and that's brutally cold, for the South.
Yeah.
So
that was one thing that really surprised me. Even here, the little lake that I fish, it gets maybe 40 feet at the maximum depth. Like it's mostly like the deepest, and that's like the tiniest little hole. It gets down to like 30 down by the dam. And I could not believe the temperature difference from the top of the water to just 30 feet deep. Yeah. So yeah. I can't imagine. I think it was like, I want to say 80 degrees top of the water, and it was 20 degrees cooler just 30 feet down.
Right.
So,
yeah, I've been like on Lake Burton, and you're fishing with a jigging spoon 30 foot deep. Surface temperature is 70 degrees or whatever, and pull the spoon up quick, after you worked it out there, and grab a hold of it, and it's like holding an ice cube. Like, wow, that's it's pretty big time temperature difference.
Oh yeah.
But yeah, I like I said, spoon fishing, deep water. But I'm got a tournament this coming weekend on Wheeler, and got over there and I found them in like 3 foot with a spinner bait, and I like catching them like that too. So
I don't think I could say there's a way I don't like catching them.
yeah, me either. I personally want to be as diverse as possible, but I still lean towards that deep water deal, and it, like I said, it hurts me sometimes.
One day though, you're right, it's gonna work out.
Yeah,
for you.
yeah, one day. But
No.
what's that?
I was gonna ask, what electronics are you running?
I've got I have a 9-inch Ray Marine Axiom. I mean, no, Element, Ray Marine Element. And it's got side imaging, down imaging. It's got,
You get a pretty good picture on that?
Oh yeah, it's, I don't want to, it's got like 1.2 megahertz. So it's equitable. The pictures, the down imaging, side imaging is similar to what the Humminbird Mega would show. And and Hummingbird's good. I'm just comfortable using Ray Marine. I've been using those for about 3 years now. So I fish out of a Hobie PA14 360, and I love that thing. It's amazing. I smile talking about it. That thing's amazing. You know how maneuverable it is and suits me perfect. Got a power pole on it, way more than I need, but it makes it fun. I'll tell you what, the power pole though, it's a big help, because I'll tell you what, deep water fishing, I'll drop that thing down, say the wind's blowing, and it'll act almost like a drift sock. So it'll slow you way down, and so you can do a drift over an area. But then again, this past spring fishing, say Gunnersville or down in Florida on a grass lake, I can power pole down out in the middle, wind blowing, stand up and start, working away. And that's a big plus. You don't have to worry about pulling the anchor in or whatever.
Yeah, I've thought it'd be cool to have out on the rivers, that be able to like hold a spot or whatever, especially if you catch a fish, because you catch a fish, get it in, you're trying to get your board ready. Next thing you know, you're 40 feet down the water. But the only downside of that is that pole sticking way up, and rivers tend to have like trees hanging over and all that.
Yeah. I've got hung in a tree before. I got hung in we fished the FLW KBF had a tournament on Nickajack last year. And so we're out there fishing, and this huge storm. I mean, this thing rolls up, and you can see it coming up the lake from the south end. And I hesitate. I kind of wait till the last minute to move. And I look, and Brad Case is coming across too. He's one of the last ones in too. So me and him are together going towards these boat houses. And he goes in one, and I forget, my power pole's brand new then, and I've got that thing up, and by the time I make it to the boathouse, there's like 3 foot waves. The wind's blowing so hard. Man, I hit that boathouse. The power pole catches. I stop. Waves start crashing over the back of the boat. I have to jump out. Luckily, it's only like waist deep, and so I jump out, manually push the power pole down, get it up in there, and climb up on whoever's dock it was, and wait the storm out in there. But yeah, it was pretty. I had to think quick. I didn't know what was going on. Lightning popping everywhere. It was a pretty gnarly storm.
Yeah, I can imagine.
But anyway, like I said, I've got a lot of personal reasons I like to. If I hear anybody is interested in kayak fishing, I can, I'll talk to them, because like I said, I have some personal reasons to share it. And I never I'm not going to ask anybody about any problems they have or anything like that. But if they had problems and thought that getting out on the water and, put you closer to God, and you know, ease your mind, peaceful. That's one reason I'm passionate about helping anybody who wants to get on the water.
Yeah,
Yep.
that's definitely a cool story that you had there, like how that helped you overcome that.
Yeah.
I know it's kayak fishing has helped me, but well, it's stressed me out but de-stressed me at the same time.
Yeah.
Yeah. If that makes any sense.
It does.
But yeah, so yeah, I want to hear a little bit more about this deep water fishing.
Okay.
Because like that's something that, well, one, I don't have the electronics for it now. I got a little 4-inch Lowrance fish finder. It's not really great for deep water fishing.
Okay.
But I'm curious about, like, so are you strictly looking at like down imaging for structure when you're initially like starting to go over a new area?
I keep my screen split in three. Side imaging on the bottom, entire bottom half of the screen. Top left, I keep GPS mapping. Top right, I use down imaging. I rarely ever use sonar. I will sometimes, but I can see hard bottom with my down imaging just fine, structure just fine. So I keep it that way. And you say you have a 4-inch Lowrance. I'm tell you, the first time when I got turned on, I bought an Eagle 5-inch depth finder, and this is a long time ago. And the only reason I bought it was because it had a GPS on it, and there was a wreck off the coast of Cape San Blas, Florida, about a mile, and I could put in I dreamed of going out fishing a wreck out of a kayak, and so I could put the coordinates in there and get me out to it. Well, I'm on Lake Blue Ridge, middle of winter, spitting snow. I think I'm probably the only person on the lake. It's about a 3,000 acre it's TVA lake, and it's got smallmouth. It's one of the only lakes, the last stronghold of smallmouth bass in Georgia. So I go up in the creek arm, and I've got this little black and white depth finder. And I look down and I see what looks like noodles, just streaks across my screen. And I'm wondering, what the heck is that? But I've got a little slab spoon, about a half ounce on them. And I flip it out, let it drop to the bottom, about 2 rips. I catch a probably 18-inch spot. Next cast, catch another one. That clicked, I'm like, hey, this is a fish. That's the streaks of the fish swimming, attacking the bait fish. And then I caught a 19-inch smallmouth. And that was what I was up there to do, to catch a smallmouth, So I made my day. After that, I started YouTubing, looking everywhere, reading everything I could about electronics and how to read it and all that. So now when I go out and say I'm going to go deep water fishing, let me back up. I watched what's the kid that's got he's got a YouTube show. He's been having Rick Clunn on there lately.
I know who you're talking about.
He's from Missouri. I can't remember his name, but I'm sure people watching knows. Rick Clunn in the latest, and he's one of my heroes. Yeah, he said, don't study the owl, study the mouse. So that's what I've done as good as I can, studying shad, shad migration, shad habits, stuff like that. So I'm gonna go deep water fishing. I'm gonna go and I'm gonna try to find the shad, and the fish are normally gonna be there. In the wintertime around here, you'll find these giant clouds of shad, and I'll make a big circle around it. And normally you're gonna find a school of fish. Sometimes they'll be suspended right under the school of shad, and then you're going to catch them with a swim bait or something like that. Sometimes they'll be just hanging out on the bottom, and you can see them best, I do, with my side imaging, and then I'll go over them and you can see them, and they'll look like little specks down there. I'll back up with a spoon. That's normally the first thing I'm going to throw if they're on the bottom, and start ripping it. And man, sometimes it'll take, it may take 5 or I want to say 10 minutes. It seems like that long. I've never timed it. But finally, when you get one hit, those fish get competitive, and it's on. And a lot of times you get your first hit, the next time you're going to catch one. And then, especially if you got another guy with you, you can start, you get them fired up and just wear them out.
So with those spoons, you let them go the whole way to the bottom, and then you just rip it off the bottom, let it fall back down?
I'll make as long of a cast as possible. I'll let that, and I'm using my spoon rod is I-rod. It's called the junk rod. It's a 7.5 foot. It's got a good backbone, but it's got a soft tip. And I'm using the Lew's. I forget the name of the reel. But anyways, got a Lew's reel on it. 17-pound fluorocarbon. Throw it out as far as I can and let that thing sink on a slack line. When it hits, and the slack line is key to when it's falling, because if you keep any tension on it, it's going to pendulum. It's going to mess the flutter up. The spoon I'm throwing is either Dixie Jet spoon. Is a 2 3/4 inch, 3/4 ounce spoon. It's a small spoon, but it's got enough weight that it doesn't take forever to float to the bottom. I'm either going to throw that spoon, or I'm going to throw and my favorite spoon is I think it's a 4.5 inch or 4 1/4 inch. The company's called Mesu, MESU, and they've got a flutter spoon, and the reason I like it is the weight to size ratio. It doesn't take forever to float to the bottom, but it catches fish. I know that. So the spoon hits the bottom, I reel up, and I'll just rip it. Sometimes small hops, sometimes a heck of a rip, depending on what they want. And I'll let my rod tip go with the spoon with just a little bit of slack in it, where I don't feel the lure on the end of the line. Normally, that fish is going to hit it on the fall, and when you rear back the next time, you'll think you're hung, or it's going to pull back. And anything you read about spoon fishing, that's going to tell you they normally catch the biggest fish out of a school. And last winter, I had at this local lake in November, I had, I think 32 pounds was my top 5 fish. I had just a bunch of big ones. And
wow.
So, and sometimes they're not on the bottom. They're going to be suspended. And when they're suspended, I'm going to throw an Alabama rig, or I'm going to throw a single barrel underspin, which is a Picasso lure with a Kitech on it, 1/4 ounce. I'll throw it out there, and if the bait a lot of times will be so thick, you can feel that underspin coming through the bait, and I just go as slow as possible. And next thing you know, it'll just load up, and you got a fish on the end of it. But bait's key for deep water fishing. If there might not be any fish around the bait, but I promise you, there's not going to be any fish if there's no bait there.
Jim, I want to rewind you for a second. Something that you said that I hear a lot of people say when you're talking about that ripping that spoon, you said, sometimes smaller hops, sometimes bigger hops, depending on how the fish want it. I hear a lot of people talk about changing up their retrieve based on how the fish wants it. Well, how long do you do it one way before you change it up to see if they want it the other way?
My first attack on a school of fish with a spoon, I'm going to throw it out there, and I'm just going to hop it back to me just pretty quick and try to trigger a bite. If I get a bite, I'll probably do that 3, 4, 5 times. No bites, I'll start ripping harder. And no bites there, I'll go back to short hopping it. It's just once they fire up, you'll catch fish on your initial cast just with it falling. That I've had that happen too. You think, last time it took 8 seconds or 15 seconds for it to hit the bottom, and and you're not timing it. You feel it, and all of a sudden, you're watching your spoon fall, and it never hits the bottom, and a fish has it. And when you work, that's one of those lures that a new fisherman goes out in the middle of the lake, because that's where you're at a lot of times. You're 200 yards off the shore. Man, that's not where you fish at, as a kid. That's totally outside of my realm at one time. You think, and when I was a kid, I'd see somebody out on the way out there fishing. I'd think, what are they fishing out in the middle for? So it's a confidence deal. It's confidence to, once you catch a fish and say 20, 25 foot on a spoon, and you get confident in it, and that'll keep you out there working a school fish, reading about the electronics, reading how to read it, what a bass looks like on the bottom, all that type of stuff that numerous YouTube videos have. Confidence in reading your electronics is second to the confidence in throwing the lure.
I think the YouTube channel you were talking about is Fish the Moment. Is that right?
Yeah, that's exactly right.
Yeah, I like that guy. We need to have him on, Ryan.
Yeah,
I think I reached out to
knowledge.
I think I did too, but haven't heard back from him yet. So if you're listening,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hey, he's got probably the best electronics reading information that I've seen.
I really like his stuff on boat positioning too. Like he tells you, when you see it on the screen, where to cast. And that was always one of my big things, is I could, every once in a while I'd find them, but then I had no clue. I'd try and turn around and be like, well, it's got to be there. I just went over that.
Right.
So.
Another thing that helps me deep water fishing is a buoy. If I'm pre-fishing or whatever, I'm not going to throw a buoy out. But I'll tell you what, a one-day tournament, or I'm throwing a buoy out there, and it's going to save me a ton of time. Getting, especially the wind blowing, this and that, catch a fish, get blown off. But I do spray paint my buoys black. So, somebody way off, they're not going to see a neon green buoy floating out there.
So with the buoy, do you have like a anchor or something tied onto it, or?
Yeah, I don't know the brand. There's a bunch of them out there, but they'll all come with a lead weight and about 100 foot of a nylon cord wrapped around it. Just throw it out, and it'll unspool till it hits the bottom, and they'll stay there.
Yes. So even if it's got 100 feet, does it like not let out the rest of it, or?
I don't know how it does. I don't know why it doesn't do that, but no,
it's nice that it don't.
Right. Yeah, I'm not sure why it doesn't just keep blowing off, just blowing down the lake till it gets to the end of the line. I'm not sure. But yeah, I'll find, say, a school fish, and especially if I get a bite, I'm not marking. The buoy is not necessarily for the position of the school of fish. It's for my position. So when I get blown off, I can come right back next to that buoy and make that almost identical cast. Look on the bank, you see out there, there's a giant pine tree on the bank. I'm casting towards it. I always try to pick a target out like that. So if I do get blown off, I'll know where to come back to.
I was going to ask you about that too, because I was like, well, if there's one other line down there, knowing my luck, I'm going to snag that every time. But
that's another reason I don't throw it at the school. So there was a story I wanted to just share, and it doesn't have anything to do with fishing, but back to Aaron Martens and his brain tumor. I didn't think about this until it came out. I actually have a little experience with somebody who actually was succumbed to brain cancer, and it ended up Clint Anderson's, my best friend. It was his brother, but we weren't friends when I knew his brother. His brother's named Charlie Henderson, same age as me, went to a different high school here in town, and I got into running about 6 or 8 years ago, and I'd run 5Ks and this and that. And Charlie had brain tumor, and he ran like a beast. And when I first started running, I kind of looked up to him. The guy had, he had a handicap like no other, and he's out there blowing everybody's doors. And then as I lost weight, I got faster and all this. He was like, I knew I wasn't going to beat him, but if I kept him in my sights, I knew I was going to have a good time, probably better than my last time. I actually got a picture where he placed first in our age group, and I placed third. We were shaking hands on the podium. Well, fast forward about 3 years, and I'm kayak fishing tournaments, and I meet Clint Henderson, find out he's Charlie's little brother, and we become like brothers. And so I've seen firsthand, to a certain extent, how brain cancer affects a family, how it affects, the morale, and I've seen what a brain cancer, how the guy had so much courage to fight it. And that's, like I said, back to Aaron Martens, that's what we're here to do, is help him fight it, and fight it hard. Hopefully he'll, just stomp it in the ground, beat it.
Yeah.
But yeah, that was that. That the other night I was talking to Clint. I kind of put that together. I was like, man, that's that's a far fetch, but if I'm going to be spreading the word on why to, encouraging people to join this tournament to help somebody with brain cancer, I've actually seen a family go through it. One hell of a strong man fight it. So it's not pretty.
And I feel you there, because my wife's cousin it wasn't brain cancer, but he just lost the battle to so I forget exactly what it was, but it's like a very rare cancer.
Yeah.
He just passed away, I believe it was last weekend, and 46 years old, a preacher.
Yeah.
And so, like, seeing what my wife and her family have gone through with losing him, cancer sucks in general. I don't care what type it is. It's just, we could really go on a rant with that whole thing. But prayers out to Aaron Martens. I hope he's able to beat this and overcome it. Prayers to his family. They can stay strong through it and everything.
Yeah.
But yeah, so Jim, I appreciate you coming on here tonight. And,
hey, man.
Going over that and talking some fishing with us and all that. You want to shout out like sponsors and if you have social media where people can follow you and stuff?
I've got an IG page account, River Goat Kayak Adventures, River Goat Kayak. Facebook, Jim Ware. I'm if you're ever in Georgia, period, and want to check out one of the best tackle shops anywhere, the Dugout Bait and Tackle in Marietta, Georgia. And if they have Hobie, they have all the Hobie kayaks. They've got a demo pond there. So it's easy. You go down there, they'll be happy to slide any boat you want in the water to try. Jamie Koza is the owner, and he is one top-notch guy. Like I said, Picasso Lures, iRod, fishing, those guys have been good to me. Gambler Lures, but I think my daughter will probably be watching when you post this. So I'll tell hello to her and my wife. I appreciate you guys having me on here.
Yeah, no problem.
Sir.
It's awesome having you. So
Yeah,
it's been a pleasure.
yeah, man.
all right, guys. Well, this has been the Bass Fishing for Noobs segment of the Paddle and Fit podcast, where we bring you the techniques, the tricks, and the tips to help you rip more lips. Thanks for joining us. Check out the tournament and tight lines, everyone.
Later.